Since we moved downtown in the mid-90s, my father has been coming up, going to events at Glucksman Ireland House at NYU. And I wound up being a grad student there, and we all felt very comfortable and happy being there. And one of the things they have is lectureship, named lectureships. And working with Professor John Waters there, we came up with the idea of having a named Tom Quinlan lecture for poetry. As we were working out the details, John got a letter from the folks at Queen's University Belfast and the Seamus Heaney Center there. And they were looking for some assistance. They had just started an award with Seamus and in his honor for the best new first book of poetry to be published either in Ireland or the United Kingdom, including Northern Ireland. So we worked out a partnership, a 5-year partnership that we hope to renew, where the winner of the Seamus Heaney Award comes and gives the Tom Quinlan Lecture in November of every year. And what was truly great about the announcement of it is that Seamus himself returned to NYU downtown for the announcement, and it was a truly great afternoon because with the family we got to spend an hour with Seamus and his wife beforehand. My father calling out various poems, Seamus reciting some from memory, and Seamus had agreed to attend on the basis of absolutely positively not being called upon to speak, which we understood, and that was fine. And we came towards the end of what we thought was the event, and Seamus had been so moved by what he had heard and seen, including my father's reading of a Patrick Kavanagh poem.
Canal Bank Walter. Leafy with love, banks and the green waters of the canal pour in redemption for me.
That he actually signaled, and the host invited him to say a few words.
Just thought this was much too meaningful and emotional event to leave it like that.
And it was a truly wonderful speech for the people there. I was seated looking back at the crowd, and it was an amazing group of NYU deans. We had the Foreign Minister of Ireland was there, Eamon Gilmore. We had grad students, and it was a wonderful mix of people. And you could just see the smiles on their faces as Seamus spoke about teaching and poetry and literature. I'm happy to say that even though Seamus unfortunately died shortly thereafter, his spirit still lives and comes to life every time we have this event in the persona of these not necessarily young, and they're new poets. First book of poetry that Seamus spoke about that day. In fact, about how important the first book can be for a poet, and so we started out as sort of a vague idea, has become something very special and very specific in honor of both Seamus and my father. It's great. My dad was up visiting us in New York, as he does frequently, and we noticed a anthology of poetry that he was flipping through, and it struck me, and I just sort of blurted out, geez, we should have a book like this for his favorite poetry. It went from my lips to God's ears, and more importantly to Mary Lou's fingertips. So she took on the challenge of collaborating and putting this entire project together, and it's worked out extraordinarily well.
These conversations with different people, someone recommended or commented on the fact that I was aging, and if I wanted to say something, this is the time. You can't do it later because it's later than you think. And so, of course, I was offered the most encouragement by my family, by Mary Lou and Joe and Tommy. Of course, 2 women, the 2 Virginias, Virginia Quinlan and Virginia Newshell, have been a great influence and a delight of my life. They offer me encouragement, My main problem was to find a pencil and a piece of paper and put something down and take a look at it. And so I did. It was a matter of cutting. 25 of them didn't make the cut. And we had Edgar Allan Poe and Emerson. He had to eliminate 5 guys, you know. They're always eliminating 5. That was the problem. It wasn't the problem of looking for material. It's like anything else that you enjoy. You have to eliminate something. That's difficult, I think. Everybody in the place where I live, they all ask the same thing. Why are you writing your first poem at 90? Why didn't you start when you were 9 or something like that? And I tell them I couldn't do it because I didn't have a pencil. If you don't have a pencil, you can't do anything. At age 90, when you begin to write your first poem, or read a first poem publicly, there's an element of risk involved. You may find out you really had nothing to say. That was the first discovery, to find out that there was something that I knew that was worth knowing and talking about. And so I did it. And it was a challenging task, but exciting and interesting. And I enjoyed it. And I hope you do too. And that's my story. The end. There is no frigate like a book, by Emily Dickinson. There is no frigate like a book to take us lands away, nor any courser like a page of prancing poetry. This traverse may the poorest take, without oppressive toll. How frugal is the chariot that bears a human soul. Theme for English B by Langston Hughes. The instructor said, "Go home, write a page tonight. Let that page come out of you. Then it will be true." I wonder if it's that simple. I'm 22, colored, born in Winston-Salem. Went to school there, then Durham, then here to this college on a hill above Harlem. I am the only colored student in my class. The steps from the hill lead down into Harlem through a park, and then I cross St. Nicholas, 8th Avenue, 7th. I come to the Y, the Harlem branch Y, where I take the elevator up to my room, sit down, write this page. It's not easy to know what is true for you or me at 22, my age. But I guess I'm what I feel and see and hear. Harlem, I hear you, hear me. We two, you, me, talk on this page. I hear New York too. Me? Who? Well, I like to eat, sleep, drink, be in love. I like to work, read, learn, understand life. I, I like a pipe for a Christmas present, or records. Bessie, bop, bop. I guess being colored doesn't make me not like the same things other folks like who are other races. So, will my page be colored that I write? Being me, it will not be white, but it will be a part of you, instructor. You are white, yet a part of me, as I am a part of you. That's American. Sometimes, perhaps, you don't want to be a part of me. Nor do I often want to be a part of you. But we are. That's true. As I learn from you, I guess you learn from me. Although you're older and white and somewhat more free. This is my page for English B. Spring and Fall by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Margaret, are you grieving over Golden Grove unleaving? Leaves like the things of man, and you with your fresh thoughts care for? Can you? Ah, as the heart grows older, it will come to such sights colder. By and by, nor spare a sigh, the worlds of one wood leaf meal lie. And yet, you will weep, and know why. Now, no matter, child, the name sorrow springs are the same, nor mouth had, no, nor mind expressed, what heart heard of, ghost guessed. It is the blight man was born for. It is Margaret you mourn for. Memory of My Mother by Patrick Kavanagh. I do not think of you lying in the wet clay of Monahan's graveyard. I see you walking down a lane among poplars on your way to the station, or happily going to second mass on a summer Sunday. And you meet me. You say, don't forget to see about the cattle. Among your earthiest words, the angels stray. And I think of you walking along the headland of green oats in June, so full of repose, so rich with life. And I see us meeting at the end of town on a fair day by accident. After the bargains are all made, and we walk together through the shops and stalls and markets, free in the oriental streets of thought. Oh, you are not lying on wet clay, for it is harvest evening, and we are piling up the ricks against the moonlight, and you smile at us eternally. Thinking by Seamus Heaney. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, as snug as a gun. Under my window, clean, rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. It's my father digging. I look down through his straining rump among the flower beds, bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills when he was digging. The coarse boot nestled on the lug, the shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade just like his old man. My grandfather could cut more turf in a day than any other man on Toner's bog. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked sloppily with paper. He straightened up to drink it and then fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving sods over his shoulder, digging down, down for the good turf, digging. The cold smell of potato mold, squelch and slap of soggy peat, curt cuts of an edge through living roots, awaken in my head. But I've no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I'll dig with it. God's World by Edna St. Vincent Millay. O world, I cannot hold thee close enough. Thy winds, thy wide gray skies, thy mists that roll and rise, thy woods, this autumn day that ache and sag, and all but cry with color. That gaunt crag to crush, to lift the lean of that black bluff. World, world, I cannot get thee close enough. Long have I known glory in it all, but never knew I this. Here such a passion is as stretches me apart. Lord, I do fear. Thou made the world too beautiful this year. My soul is all but out of me. Let fall no burning leaf, prithee, let no bird call. The Song of Wandering Angus by William Butler Yeats. I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled the hazel wand and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in the stream and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossoms in her hair, who called me by my name and ran and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone and kiss her lips and take her hand and walk among the long dappled grass and pluck till time and time are done the silver apple of the moon, the golden apples of the sun. When You Were Old by William Butler Yeats. When you were old and gray and full of sleep, nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace, loved your beauty with love false or true, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrow of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled, paced upon the mountain overhead, hid his face among a crowd of stars. Drinking Alone Beneath the Moon by Li Po. Among the blossoms, a single jar of wine. No one else here. I ladled it out myself. Raising my cup, I toast the bright moon. Facing my shadow, make friends 3. The moon has never understood wine, and shadow only trails along behind me. Kindred a moment with moon and shadow, I found a joy that must infuse spring. I sing and moon rocks back and forth. I dance, shadow tumbles into pieces. Sober, we're together, happy. Drunk, we scatter away into our own directions. Intimates forever, we'll wander carefree and meet again in Star River distances. The Secret by Denise Levertov. 2 girls discover the secret of life in a sudden line of poetry. And I, who don't know the secret, wrote the line. They told me through a third person. They had found it, but not what it was, not even what line it was. No doubt by now, more than a week later, they have forgotten the secret, the line, the name of the poem. I love them for finding what I can't find, and for loving me for the line I wrote and for forgetting it, so that 1,000 times till death finds them, they may discover it again in other lines, in other happenings. And for wanting to know it, for assuming there is such a secret. Yes, for that most of all. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Alone I stood, looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other just as fair, having perhaps a better claim because it was grassy, wanted wear. Oh, as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. And I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled by. That has made all the difference. Our revels now are ended. William Shakespeare of The Tempest, Act 4, Scene 1. Our revels now are ended. And these our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, cloud-capped towers, gorgeous palaces, solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a wreck behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life rounded with a sleep.